afternoon. This is Ernie Afghani's welcoming you from Lansdowne Park in Ottawa. The Eastern Conference Championship is at stake here this afternoon, along with it a Grey Cup berth against the Calgary Stampeders. Not a bad afternoon for football. About 30 degrees. The field is a little bit slippery. Could get a little slipperier as the day goes on. And as you know, every time Toronto and Ottawa meet, they seem to have one of those rough, tough football games. Every time they meet, they get very, very high, and a very keen and intense rivalry has built up between them. They like nothing better than to beat each other physically as well as on the scoreboard. Now let's talk to the coaches. First of all, Leo Cahill, the coach of the Argos. Leo, your ball club has won 8 of their last 10 games, and your ball players have been quoted as saying that there is absolutely no pressure on them. They're going in here very loose this afternoon.
Yeah, I think so, Ernie. It's the same as last week. The players feel that everyone expects them to lose, so they're just going in there and try to prove a point.
What about the field? Your ball players have also said they like that mushy stuff. They did well on it last week. How about this one?
This is fine with us. Anything that the elements provide for us is fine. Football is an any day game. It's not a sunny day game.
Okay, thank you very much, Leo, and lots of luck to you.
Thank you. Leo
Cahill, the coach of the Toronto Argos, now talking to Frank Clare, the coach of the Ottawa Rough Riders. And Frank, while we're on the point of pressure, it has been said that there's a lot on your ball club because they've been favored all along and they should win.
Well, Ernie, this pressure business has been talked a lot about. I don't think that there's any different pressure on either team. They're in there to win. This is the big game. This is one big single game, so what's all this about pressure? We've been through it before. Our players have, and I think our players are ready, and we got a good chance to take it.
Thank you very much, Frank.
Thank you.
Frank Clare, the coach of the Ottawa Rough Riders. Now let's go up top to Bernie Filoni and Don Chevrier.
Thanks, Ernie. The field today is of concern as it was last week. It doesn't appear to be as bad, Bernie, but do you think the C&E Stadium field really helped the Argonauts as much as they said it did, and will it help them today here?
Well, it certainly helped them last week, Don, with that big blitz that they put on Russ Jackson. They weren't able to maneuver as well as they normally do, especially with the big passing-type offense in Vic Washington and Bo Scott, with Tucker getting downfield deep. And today, the field is a little bit hard. It's going to be soft by halftime because of the frost coming out of the ground. I don't think it'll help them as much as it did last week.
In 60 minutes, the Calgary Stampeders will know their Grey Cup opponents, 1968. The teams 2 points apart in what amounts to the second game of a 120-minute long game of football to decide the Eastern Championship 1968. 13 for Toronto, 11 for the Ottawa Rough Riders. And the Argonauts will introduce their starting offensive lineup, led out by center Ron Capham, number 41. The starting left guard, number 53, sporting that marvelous mustache, Bob Swift. The right guard, number 57, Charlie Bray. The veteran left tackle, number 68, Bill Frank. Another veteran, number 60 at right tackle, Danny Nicolak. Starting left end, number 71 is Al Irwin. And here's Mel Prophet, number 75, the starting right end for the Argonauts. Here he is, the top ground gainer in the East, number 33, Bill Simon, right halfback. Number 11, Jimmy Dillard, the left halfback. The Argonauts twin flanker backs, Bobby Taylor, 24. Number 20, the other flanker, rookie Neil Smith. In his third year at quarterback, number 12, Wally Gabler. You can see he's got that pouch sewn onto his sweater to keep the hands warm here in this chilly afternoon in Ottawa. The temperature 35 degrees as this game is about to get underway. Having brought out their starting offensive lineup, the Ottawa Rough Riders will comply with their starting defensive 12.
And now the defensive unit of the Ottawa Rough Riders.
First man out, 65, Billy Joe Booth, left defensive end. Number 53 is the starting left defensive tackle, Marshall Shirk. The right tackle, wearing number 52, Jim Kane. And right defensive end, number 55, Dave Bragan. Acquired from Calgary, number 54, left corner linebacker Jerry Campbell. The middle linebacker in the running for the National Football Awards, Ken Lehman, number 41. The right corner linebacker, number 21, Wayne Giardino. Starting left defensive halfback, 14, Don Sutherland. Number 23 is Billy Cooper, one of the 5 deep backs for the Rough Riders. Number 15, backup quarterback, defensive back, and punter, Bill Van Berkelio. 17 is the veteran Joe Poirier. And number 22 is Gene Gaines. The starting defensive 12 for Frank Blair's Ottawa Rough Riders. Bernie, we couldn't ask for more, with the teams only 2 points apart into the second half of this series. The Argonauts and the Ottawa Rough Riders are all set. We'll be ready for our national anthem and the opening kickoff after this message. Lansdowne Park just about filled to capacity for this, the next to last game in Canadian Pro Football 1968. That last game, of course, will be next Saturday at CNE Stadium, and the winner of this one will meet the Calgary Stampeders in Grey Cup 1968. And what a week that's going to be in Toronto, starting with the festivities on Monday. We are ready now at Lansdowne Park for the playing of Old Canada. Is the referee in this afternoon's deciding game. Bob Shepard is the line umpire. Number 24, Jim King, is the back umpire. Number 29, Bill Fry. 32 is the head linesman. And the field judge is number 30, Chuck Hall. The Argonauts are going to receive the opening kickoff, and will do that just as soon as the band makes its way off the field. Number 10 is Jimmy Dye on the far side, and Bill Simons, 33, stationed at the goal line to receive this opening kickoff. Copeland, number 30, is shallow near the 15-yard line with Neil Smith. Don Sutherland will handle the Ottawa kickoff. 13-11 is the score, and as we relate the scores to you this afternoon, they will be in terms of the 2-game total point series. And away we go. Bill Simons, 3 yards deep. Simons caught at the 15-yard line by Danny Deaver, number 30. They put it down on the 16, a 68-yard kickoff and a 20-yard return. First down, Argos. Taylor, 24, breaks on left. Jim Dillard, a 2-yard loss in the arms of Jerry Campbell and Billy Joe Booth, and tempers flare early. to the 14. It is 2nd and 12. Al Irwin out. Paul Markle, 76, in with a play from Leo Cahill. Complete to Bobby Taylor. First down near the 33-yard line.
Don, that's coming out of a big hole down there. The first play was certainly a mix-up in the backfield. Jim Dillard and Wally Gabler getting mixed up on the play, but then coming out with a big play to move that stick for that first down.
The gain 18 to the 33-yard line. Smith right with Irwin. Taylor left. Mel Prophet near a first down. They really stepped up near the 40-yard line.
This is a shotgun formation. Everybody has heard about the spread or the shotgun type. Wally Gabler is back about 7 yards in the pocket, and the ball is snapped directly to him. This is a scramble type of a play. Wally Gabler couldn't see number 20, Smith, who was at least 15 yards behind everybody down the field, and just surprised Ottawa.
2nd and 3. Simon. No gain. Jerry Campbell applying the tackle on Bill Simon with a blocking breakdown and a sweep to the right. And the Argonauts, 3rd and 3, will punt for the first time today. The game is barely 2 minutes old. Frank Blair on that telephone early. Ardern and Cooper, 20 and 23, the punt return team. Mann is the kicker. Ardern at the 40. Hit right there by number 57, Charlie Bray. And the Rough Riders have the ball for the first time today. Mann's punt, only 34 yards. There is little of any direct wind factor. Crossfield from the east, 35 degrees. First down, Rough Riders, 40-yard line. Washington has 5 at the 45. Bob Petrich with the tackle, number 72. 13 to 11. 3 minutes almost into the second half of a 2-game total point series. That field, a matter of concern, holding up remarkably well. Jackson near a first down at the 50. He was jackknifed by a former teammate, number 70, Mike Bloom.
Jackson, the ball carrier. Bloom and Harrington in on the tackle.
If they put it on the 50, it will be a first down. They want the chain to come out just to make sure. Bernie, the tension here is electric at Lansdowne Park this afternoon.
Yes, it is, Don. Early in the football game also. And on this last particular play, Jackson was really barreling in there for that first down. He had some blocking to the outside, but he wasn't looking for a long yardage gain at that particular time. He wanted to make that first down, and it's very important in a game like this to be able offensively to get your team up and move and make that first down whenever you have your hands on that football.
As you see, they have the first down at the 50-yard line. Bo Scott has 5, has 10, has 12 yards. Again, it is Mike Bloom, 70, with the Toronto tackle. And again, it is a first down for the Rough Riders. Bo receives, 62, with the key block on that sweep by Bo Scott. Petrich, Nichol, Wadsworth, Harrington, Toronto's front four. Strength is set left as Jackson has the first down call. Martin hits Jackson. It is ruled a fumble, I believe. Argonauts, first down.
Russ Jackson was just in the act of throwing this football, but his arm was back, and you'll see right here, he's hit just as his arm is back. It is a fumble, and quite a break here.
There's a timeout on the field at the 4-minute mark of the first quarter, and the series score is Toronto 13, Ottawa 11. Riders, four-man line. And Schaefer is down for a big loss. Number 52, Jim Kane. 21, Wayne Giardino. They'll be kicking on third and long yardage.
Don, that was an attempted screen play down there that broke down because of a couple of the linemen not really rushing till the last moment. They were waiting for a screen or a draw.
Man's kick to Billy Cooper, 36-yard line. And he walks out at the 41. And so it appeared to be a disastrous break against the Ottawa Rough Riders, and for the Toronto Argonauts is negated quickly by the two defensive charges by the Ottawa line. They've got the ball back at their 41. Man's kick traveled only 30 yards. The series score is unchanged from last Sunday, 13-11. We are 5.5 minutes into this half of the Total Points Eastern Final. First quarter. Ronnie Stewart. Close to a first down at the 51-yard line. Met by Petrich and Harrington. And the way they have been going away from Stewart lately, he's the last man, Bernie, the Argonauts would expect to carry the ball.
And a dangerous man, still a dangerous man. Ronnie Stewart still has good speed left, Don. Interesting to know that the Toronto Argonauts are playing a wide 4-3 type of a defense, which will allow them to blitz Jackson as he goes back to pass quite effectively.
Second down, less than a yard to go. Jackson with a quick count and the first down. That's a pretty good gain for a quarterback sneak, better part of 5 yards. Cahill with a gesture toward that very tough defense of his. No question that defense won this first game of the series for the Argonauts last week, just as defense largely won for the Calgary Stampeders in the West. Whit Tucker wide left. R.G. Neptune's right. Vic Washington. The gain will be close to 5 at the 50-yard line of Toronto. Marvin Luster, 27, with the tackle. At the talk that Washington was suffering from an injured leg, but it has not been apparent this afternoon, nor was it apparent in workouts in Ottawa this week. Second and 5 to come. Again, Tucker is dispatched wide left, Atkins right, motion left for Jackson. And he fights near the 45, which is the area of the first down marker.
Russ Jackson likes this play when there's about 5 yards to go, and he has a lot of blocking out in front. It's really not an option. It's a planned running play by the quarterback where he gets all his backs flowing to one side and throwing blocks for him. Jackson, being very talented as a running quarterback, utilized this play tremendously.
He is just that much short of the first down with third down coming up. Ottawa's offensive line is Roberts, Racine, Schutte, Sellinger, Specht, Fredericks, Bainan, Margie Atkins. Jackson tries to lean in for that first down at the 45. And they indicate that he has it. The Riders keep their drive going. 8 minutes gone in this first quarter. Doug Speck, number 43, is the Ottawa center. Bo Scott for 2 yards at the 43.
Don, this game, there's only 6 minutes, 21 seconds left in this quarter, this period, and although the teams have been playing very hard, tough football, there hasn't been a penalty yet. And this is indication of the P's and Q's of the football players down there now. They know exactly what's going on, and they're playing real heads-up football.
Scott's gain was barely a yard. Let's make it second down and the better part of 9. Intercepted at the 45-yard line, Alan Ray Aldridge. He lost the ball. Let's see if the play had ended. They rule it had. But there was a flag way back at the original line of scrimmage.
Here's the play. Jackson trying to hit a little check pattern to Bo Scott, and it's intercepted by Alan Ray Aldridge. And there's 27 coming up from behind, who was blocked out very well by Ron Stewart. And the play is being called back, Don. Here's our first penalty. We're just talking about it.
It is an offside penalty against Toronto, and it wipes out a fine interception. Back at the 40-yard line of the Rough Riders, Mike Bloom is getting attention from trainer Mert Profit. Bloom now, as you see, on his feet and making his way to the Argonaut bench on the north side of Lansdowne Park. Breaks play a big part in deciding any playoff football series. The Argonauts got theirs early and failed to capitalize. This time they thought they had another, but had left the line of scrimmage just a step too soon. So with the penalty, the second down is repeated. And at the 38-yard line, the Rough Riders are second and 3.5. Brett McKee is playing for Mike Bloom. Inside the 30-yard line, Russ Jackson, first down, Rough Riders with plenty of room.
You know, Don, Russ Jackson is running that very effectively, and he's done it on 3 key occasions when he's needed 4 yards or 5 yards on a second down situation. Watch for him coming out with the same type of action from the backfield and hitting either number 73 Atkins or 26 Tucker deep on a pass pattern.
The Argonauts, amazingly injury-free this year, have now on the second successive play a man down, number 59, Mike Wadsworth, receiving attention. Mike Bloom left on the previous play. You take Bloom and Wadsworth out even for a couple of plays, the effect is noticeable. We expected a bruising kind of game, an all-or-nothing situation prevailing here today, and we've had just that. The score, though, is unchanged from the first game last weekend, 13-11. Argonauts with a 2-point lead as Wadsworth very slowly gets to his feet and will need help to find the Argonaut bench. But the Rough Riders controlling the ball so well, Jackson has carried 5 times for 24 yards, and the Riders have had 5 first downs as against 1 for Toronto. The Argonauts are minus 5 yards net rushing today. Chuck Liebrock, 52, comes into play Mike Wadsworth's spot. Grant McKee, 31, is coming out. Mike Bloom is able to return now. The Argos have one of the injured players back. First down, 29-yard line. For Atkins, it is no good. Tipped away by Dick Thornton. Arden Luster right there, too. It'll be 2nd and 10, back at the 29.
Don, I see that Bloom is back in the game. The doctors were looking for a concussion. He got a very bad crack on the head. They're going to check him again as he goes along, but it appears he's going to be okay.
Ernie Athagenis from the Argonaut bench. Stationed on the far side is Bob Moyer with the Rough Riders. And both Bob and Ernie will be checking in with reports throughout the afternoon. 2nd and 10, 29-yard line. Again, and it's away. Washington in heavy traffic down at the 36. The loss will be 7 to 8 yards. It was Petrich in there, along with Pete Martin. As they all came pouring through, and the screen pass to Washington was unable to gain yardage for the Rough Riders. Argonauts lead by 2. That lead could be erased right here if Don Sutherland can make a 44-yard field goal. Angle to the right. Copeland and Learn in the end zone to receive it. His line drive is wide. Ed Learn has it. And is out. And 3 at the 10. To the 20-yard line. A remarkable run back by Ed Learn.
On Ed Learn on that particular play, looked as if he was just going to be swallowed up by a few Ottawa football players there. He bounced around and bounced out just before the sidelines there and was able to pick up another 10 or 12 yards.
Near the 19, Tom Bainan finally was able to subdue Ed Learn. And the Argonauts are first down. Taylor set right. Bobby Taylor. 45-yard line at the 50, still going at the 52.
There's a fake, and it's a sort of a short side rollout and hitting back against.
36. The loss will be 7 to 8 yards. It was Petrich in there, along with Pete Martin. As they all came pouring through, and the screen pass to Washington was unable to gain yardage for the Rough Riders. Argonauts lead by 2. That lead could be erased right here if Don Sutherland can make a 44-yard field goal. Angle to the right. Copeland and Learn in the end zone to receive it. Line drive is wide. Ed Learn has it and is out. And 3 at the 10. To the 20-yard line. A remarkable run back by Ed Learn.
On Ed Learn on that particular play, looked as if he was just going to be swallowed up by a few Ottawa football players there. He bounced around and bounced out just before the sidelines there and was able to pick up another 10 or 12 yards.
Near the 19, Tom Bainan finally was able to subdue Ed Learn. And the Argonauts are first down. Taylor set right. Bobby Taylor, 45-yard line at the 50, still going at the 52.
There's a fake, and it's a sort of a short side rollout and hitting back against the grain to Taylor. Taylor makes an excellent run here, and look at the number of white shirts that are after him. But Bobby Taylor picks up quite a few yards, brought down by Joe Poirier and Van Berkelio.
34 the gain, the pitch to Dillard. He lost the ball. It's Rough Rider ball, I believe.
is evidence out there of real hard-hitting type of football. On this particular play, Jim Dillard running wide and cuts upfield is hit very, very hard, and the ball is knocked loose.
There's a timeout on the field at the 12-minute mark of the first quarter. The series score is Toronto 13 and Ottawa 11. Southern made contact with Jim Dillard to pry the ball loose. As Wadsworth continues to get attention to the Argonaut bench. And it was Gene Gaines, 22, who recovered that fumble on the far sidelines to give the Rough Riders possession at the 51 of Toronto, first down. Jackson's receiver slipped and fell at the 28-yard line. Jay Roberts, as that field is getting greasier as the temperature rises here this afternoon. And those cleats working on it are prying that soft turf loose.
Second down, Ottawa, 10 to go.
The scoring possibilities have been many and varied in this first quarter, but as of right now, the score is unchanged. 13 to 11 on the series as Jackson brings the Riders out. Second and 10, 51-yard line of Toronto. Adkins, complete. At the Argonaut, 32.
Margene Atkins loafing downfield, really. This is the play that we were talking about earlier where Jackson would roll to one side with that flow. Atkins makes a catch of that open area down there. This is what Jackson has been trying to set up by his running for those first downs.
He beat Ron Lorenz. The gain was 19. And from the 32 of Toronto, it is first down for Ottawa as Tucker goes left with Vic Washington. Flag thrown. It will count. The Argonauts were offside. Argonauts have been offside, and the Riders are back in the series lead. Here's Sutherland's extra point attempt. It's good. And the series score runs to 18-13 with the Rough Riders now in the lead.
And what is happening down there defensively for the Toronto Argonauts? They're in that wide 4-3 that I was telling you about earlier that allows them to blitz Russ Jackson, but it does make them vulnerable back in that deep spot, especially if they have a spread formation and they take that center man, Luster, and move him to one side or the other. Then Jackson has the opportunity of throwing back against the grain, as he did on that particular occasion, for the 6 points to Atkins.
Sutherland kicks off. Copeland has to pick it up again. And cannot advance beyond the 22-yard line.
Kickoff taken by Copeland.
Tom Pullen pulling him down on a 53-yard kickoff. And Copeland got back only 10.
Wallace on the road, 22.
A minute and 40 seconds left in the first quarter of this second game of the Eastern Final, and the Rough Riders lead the series 18-13. Simons. Fierce contact. A marker had been thrown over the 30-yard line.
Simons the ball carrier. Gains and changes on the tackle. Penalty on the play.
Holding is the indication against Toronto. Rough Riders happy to accept the ball back on the 12-yard line. complete at the 24-yard line. But they are well short of the first down with still 9 to go. Let's check now at the Rough Rider bench with Bob Moyer.
Don, on that play, Margene Adkins said for that touchdown, all he did was cut to the inside. The Argonaut back went for the fake, and then he headed straight for the end zone and was all by himself and said the footing was real nice and easy.
It sure looked that way. Gabler trying to bail out of heavy traffic caught by Billy Joe Booth at the 25-yard line. And it runs to 3rd and 7. Flag up in the first quarter. Ardern and Cooper awaiting Dave Mann's punt. Ardern, 52. Run out at the Argonaut, 53 by Charlie Bray, number 57. And again, the Riders have the ball inside Toronto's half at Lansdowne Park. Dave Mann's kick that time, 33. He's been averaging in the area of 30 to 35 yards this afternoon. And Wally Gabler, in passing, has been 4 for 4 for the Argonauts, but Toronto's ground game has not done the job they thought it would do for them. With Tucker left, Margene Adkins right, first down. Oh, Scott has a gain of 13 yards in the arms of Aldridge, number 44.
Smart call by Russ Jackson, in a good field position to throw the ball and coming up with a draw play. He's been throwing the ball quite effectively against the Argonaut defense, and Bo Scott picks his holes well on that particular play, as you saw.
The time clock has expired. This, barring penalty, would be the last play of the first quarter. The Rough Riders holding a 5-point lead on the strength of a touchdown pass from Jackson to Margene Adkins. Jackson inside the 35 at the 33-yard line, dropped by Aldridge and Wadsworth and Knechtel there as well. And the gun sounds at the end of the first quarter. The series score is Ottawa 18 and Toronto 13. We'll have more CFL playoff action after this message.
Down on the field, the Ottawa Rough Rider defensive unit, Billy Joe Booth and Billy Van Berkeley, will say the footing is fine. And when Jay Roberts slipped on that pass earlier in the first quarter, they say the reason he did that was because he was trying to do something extra special, like coming back quickly for the pass. But running down straight, Margene Adkins says that the footing is fine.
Okay, Bob, at the 33, Riders are 2nd and 3. Adkins right, Tucker left. Scott and Washington behind Russ Jackson. Bo Scott fights near the first down marker. Knechtel, 69, in a wrestling contest with Scott. They rule him down at the 31, and the Rough Riders, it appears, are going to be just a little bit short of the first down. Lee Brock is coming in for Wadsworth, who had returned after his injury briefly. Lee Brock may see considerable action. It's been evident that Wadsworth, after being shaken up earlier, does not have the footing. That knee has been not holding for him. 3rd down and less than 1 to go. The Rough Riders coming out, going for it. And they have it. Jackson straight ahead for 2 yards. They move the yardsticks near the 29, and Ottawa keeps the series going. Their lead in the total point series is 5, 18 to 13. We are in the second minute of play in the second quarter at Lansdowne Park. The Riders have dominated this first half so far. Argo's digging into what amounts to a 5-man line. And here's the blitz against Jackson, but he has it away. His throw hurried, incomplete for Margene Atkins. Leo Cahill told us earlier in the week that he would have to vary his defense a good deal more against the Rough Riders this time. He said, you just can't get away with the same kind of persistent blitzing or it'll backfire on you, and they have staggered their blitzing, but not to the effect they did last Sunday, when the element of surprise came to the fore. 2nd and 10, 29-yard line. Dancing out of bounds. We'll have 6 yards. Dick Thornton is escorting him to the sidelines, and it's 3rd and 4.
Jackson coming right back to the same play, Don, which a smart quarterback will do on occasions. And what happened there was number 27, Marvin Luster from the Argonauts, was on a safety blitz formation. They picked him up, and that allowed Atkins to have a little time to get out over there. But you notice when he caught the ball, he couldn't regain his balance. He had to skid out of bounds.
Sutherland's field goal attempt will come from near the 30, the angle right. Jackson holding. It is good. There's some vigorous pursuit down there on Jimmy Copeland. The tackle made anyway, but the 3 points goes on the board, and it's 21-13 in terms of the series in favor of the Rough Riders.
Those linemen never know whether that field goal's made or not, Don, and they go down, and if they see a back running out of that end zone, they're going to tackle him, and there was no indication there.
There's a timeout on the field. At the 2-minute mark of the second quarter, the series score is Ottawa 21 and Toronto 13. The Argonauts have been a come-from-behind team in the playoffs this year, as you know. Russ Jackson at the Rider bench. They were down 14 in the early minutes to Hamilton, came back to win. Down 10 points, 10-0 last week, came back to win. And they say bad luck runs in threes if good luck holds true. They are down 10 points right now on this game, 10-0, and it has to be some kind of omen for them, although the Rough Riders don't indicate any easing off here in this second game of the 2-game total points semi-final series. 31-13 is the score on the round. Taylor, wide left. Take to Simons. Gabler looks for the nearest sideline and collects 4 at the 39. Giardino pursuing him all the way into a snowbank over there near the south stand. Ottawa dominated the first quarter offensively with a total offense of 111 yards as against 57 for Toronto and 7 first downs for the Argonauts 1. Gabler has been 4 for 4 in passing. He is 5 for 5. Taylor lost the ball. And Berkley down at the 45.
Let's take a look at this play. Here's Bobby Taylor on a quick out pattern. He catches the ball, and he's very shifty. He makes a lot of moves here, but he really gets hit hard, and you'll see the ball pop up. And Ben Burke, scoops it up, thinks he has a straight line to run, overexcited to move out fast, and trips over his own feet. What a break here for the Ottawa Rough Riders.
They have the ball, 1st and 10, Toronto 45. With Tucker wide right and Atkins left. Jackson in trouble, down at midfield. The loss will be 10 yards. Dave Knechtel, 69, pouring through to make the tackle.
Jackson had a little trouble on the exchange that time from center. He was bobbling the ball around a bit, and by the time he regained control of that football and to set up and throw, he had a big rush put on him by Nechtel and just couldn't get the ball away.
Our Darch points out that on the previous play, it was Ken Lehman who really jolted Taylor and pried that ball loose into the hands of Van Berkeley. Again, Tucker sets right, 26, Adkins 73 to the left. Scott and Washington with Stewart in the backfield with Russ Jackson. Specht is the center. For Whit Tucker, just a hand and a step away. Dick Thornton, 25, defending for the Argonauts. And it's 3rd down and 20 from midfield for Ottawa.
Don, I think you'll find that Russ Jackson will be throwing a lot more by splitting number 26 Tucker like he did that time, and Margene Atkins, number 73. It isolates 25 and 10 Thornton and Dye individually and give that big middle chance to open up for these fast receivers.
This will be the first punt today for Bill Van Berkeley. Ball dropped dead at the 25-yard line, and Copeland steps out at the 29.
Van Berkeley was picked taken by Copeland. He returned to 20 yards.
About 5 minutes gone in the second quarter. 21-13 is the series score. That kick by Van Berkeley. So the wind is more of a cross-field factor, and it is not a stiff breeze particularly. The kick was only 27 yards. Profit, 75 on the right side for the Argonauts. First down, the pitch to Dillard. Shirk has him for a loss of 3 or 4 at the 25. Danny Nicolak pulled out to block on the play, and in the hole created by his departure, Mr. Shirk came barreling through with a tackle.
Don, you'll see that the Ottawa Rough Riders throw an overshift to the wide side of the field, too, against the Toronto Argonauts to eliminate that running game.
It was tipped away from Bobby Taylor by Bill Van Berkeley. And Gaines and Giardino and Poirier all made a frantic lunge for the interception that was not to be. So on 3rd and 14, the offense of the Toronto Argonauts runs out of gas again. The Rough Riders have Ardern and Cooper back to receive Dave Mann's 3rd down kick. Way over Mann's head into the end zone. And he will concede 2 points on a safety touch. Which under the circumstances would be the only intelligent thing to do.
Dave Mann had no chance to get this ball. It was way over his head, Don, and this was a very smart thing for him to do also, to fall on that ball, give up the 2 points, because now they still have possession of that football. Otherwise, it could have been a disastrous kick if he had tried to get it away.
So from the 25, Argonauts start out. Ron Capham, the center, of course, unhappy about the events of the last play. Dillard hits for about 2 near the 37. Runs into Wayne Giardino, number 21. Dillard and Simons have both had their problems against the Ottawa defense today. This is the first gain that Dillard has showed in 4 attempts with the ball. And it is small, 2 yards, 2nd and 8 to come. Markle with a message from Leo Cahill, in for Al Irwin. Dillard set wide with Smith right now as Gaylor drops back into a short punt formation. He is company. Booth at the 5-yard line has the tackle. Billy Joe Booth ran right by Danny Nicolak, and it is 3rd and 30 yards to go, Toronto.
That's the hazard of that spread shotgun type of an offense, Don. You have a chance to throw the ball quickly if they do come on you, and you have to get rid of it that fast. Otherwise, you're backed up by yourself and in trouble.
Half and snap is high, but better, and Mann just gets it away. And he has a bounce past Ardern. No yards called. Ardern drawing in Charlie Bray. Mann's best kick today, 48 yards, will be cut into by the no yards penalty. The walk-off takes the ball to the Toronto 42 from where the Ottawa Rough Riders, the dominant team today, the dominant team on the series scoreboard leading 23-13, have a first down. The 32-yard line, Vic Washington, close to an Ottawa first down.
Vic Washington, Don, had an injury, and he probably is still bothered by it a little bit out there, but it doesn't look like it on this play. Look at him move back and forth and pick his holes in there fairly well for some good yardage.
Dragging Mike Bloom, 70 with him, who finally contained the advance of Scott. And the Rough Riders continue to pour it on here at Lansdowne Park before an enthusiastic home crowd, with visions of Grey Cup next week very much on their minds. 7 minutes remain in the first half of this game. Releasing over the center to Scott as the Argonaut deep backs had backpedaled into the end zone. From the 10-yard line on, he was home free. And here's Sutherland's extra point attempt. It is good. And in terms of this two-game total point series, it is Ottawa 30, Toronto 13, a 17-point differential.
Here's that play, and I'm sure that they worked on it. Bo Scott waiting for that safety blitz, and it just jumps up where Marvin Luster left his territory and just races into the end zone. I'm sure they worked on this all week because they've had so much blitzing by the Argonauts in that last game, Don, and probably almost like an automatic, that if 27 comes up the center, they pick him up by the off halfback and allow Bo Scott to be free and just go into that area where nobody's around him.
Sutherland's kickoff to Simons at the 33-yard line. He is dumped by Jerry Campbell, number 54. Returned by Simons, 22 yards. The Argonauts have dug themselves into a deep hole here.
And they're going to have to start throwing that football. I would have anticipated they threw it a lot earlier than this, but they come back and get in this game. It's going to have to be throw.
Simons throws the hard way, but the gain is negligible. Bobby Taylor on the bailout attempt by Bill Simons, who still was on his feet with one arm free. Giardino with the tackle. They'll lose a yard.
I've never seen a halfback run into the line, get knocked back, and then throw a pass. Normally it's a fumble, but he's alert down there.
2nd and 11 as Taylor comes right. Simons breaks one tackle from Campbell and is really rocked at the 30-yard line by Ken Lehman. That's a rough combination. At the Ottawa bench, Bob Moyer.
Don Bo Scott said, they blitzed, I delayed a little bit, and that's all there was to it.
3rd down from the 30-yard line and 13 to go. Dave Mann's punt. It's a good one. Arderd, 29-yard line. Bob Sweat finally caught him after a fine run back. He split the Argonaut defenders coming down with some speed and got back an extra 15 yards. The run back was 16 in all. And the Rough Riders are relentless in their attack every time they can get near the football today. And it is reflected on the scoreboard where they lead 30-13 in the series. And 19-0 in this game. There's not much of an opening for Bo Scott at the 50-yard line, but nevertheless, he has 3. Nechtel and Wadsworth with the tackles, 69 and 59. And the clock reveals less than 5 minutes of play remaining in the first half.
A halfback run into the line, get knocked back, and then throw a pass. Normally it's a fumble, but he's alert down there.
2nd and 11 as Taylor comes right. Simons breaks one tackle from Campbell and is really rocked at the 30-yard line by Ken Lehman. That's a rough combination. At the Ottawa bench, Bob Moyer.
Don Bo Scott said, they blitzed, I delayed a little bit, and that's all there was to it.
3rd down from the 30-yard line and 13 to go. Dave Mann's punt. It's a good one. Arderd, 29-yard line. Bob Sweat finally caught him after a fine run back. He split the Argonaut defenders coming down with some speed and got back an extra 15 yards. The run back was 16 in all. And the Rough Riders are relentless in their attack every time they can get near the football today. And it is reflected on the scoreboard where they lead 30-13 in the series. And 19-0 in this game. There's not much of an opening for Bo Scott at the 50-yard line, but nevertheless, he has 3. Nechtel and Wadsworth with the tackles, 69 and 59. And the clock reveals less than 5 minutes of play remaining in the first half. Stewart on the delayed handoff. Tremendous first down.
Like I say, Don, they don't call Ronnie Stewart to run very much, but here's an indication of what he can do when he gets a hold of that football. There's some good blocking in there, too, as you see. But watch this little guy, little big guy, power and run.
Stewart runs for 18, weaving through the entire Argonaut defense almost, and from the 41.5, first down. The quick opener to Bo Scott nets the Rough Riders about 3 yards near the 38. He'll mark his knees at the 39-yard line, so the gain is going to be 2, and the Rough Riders 2nd and 8. Knechtel and Aldrich were the tacklers in the play. 3:52 now remaining in the second quarter. Liebrock comes in for Mike Wadsworth to play defensive tackle for Toronto. Jackson will keep. The gain is 14 yards. Marvin Luster with the tackle finally at the 25-yard line.
There's another way to get away from that blitz, Don. That was a safety blitz by Luster again. You have to get outside, and Jackson's doing that effectively.
First down play, 25-yard line. Interference call. Argene Atkins colliding with Marvin Luster. As they were all full speed in pursuit of Jackson's pass. Illegal interference is the call. There's a timeout on the field. The 12-minute mark of the second quarter. The series score is Ottawa 30, Toronto 13. Here is that play again, leading to the interference call in the end zone. Jackson's pass. All in pursuit. There's where they got all tangled up at each other. And the ball is at the 10-yard line. First down, Rough Riders. Batted away by Dick Thornton. Atkins, the intended receiver.
Thornton made a great play on this to recover and knock this ball down. The ball was thrown just a bit late by Jackson. Atkins had Thornton beaten 2 or 3 steps earlier. Had Jackson thrown the ball, it could have resulted in a touchdown. But Thornton made a real fine effort to stop that play.
There he is, stationed back at his zone at the goal line as the Rough Riders come out 2nd and 10. Jackson's pass had to be quick. It was low for Tucker, almost batted down by the defensive line. So it's 3rd and 10. The Ottawa offense has netted 192 yards today, but the bulk of that has been rushing with 143 along the ground. The Argonauts have manufactured 88 yards in all. They have -5 in rushing. Bo Scott is the injured player at the 10-yard line, appearing to have leg difficulties. Scott, of course, in the very first game of the season, was injured and missed about a month of play, and it looks to be a knee again. We won't say it's as serious necessarily, but he gets a tremendous hand coming out to the far side of the Rough Rider bench, and I'm sure Bob Moyer will have some information on Scott in the immediate future. 2:39 remaining in the second quarter, and it's 30-13. Ottawa leading the series. 19-0, Ottawa leading this game. Now Charlie Bray is coming in for Chuck Liebrock. As Southern attempts the 3 points, he has it. And there's a difference of 20 points on the series scoreboard now, 33-13. 2:36 until halftime in this game. CBC will bring you all the activities Grey Cup Day next Saturday from C&E Stadium, commencing with Grey Cup Festival. The parade, the Grey Cup preview, and the big game itself, that's at 1 o'clock. Mel Prophet chopped ahead for an extra couple of yards at the 44-yard line on the tackle by Marshall Shirk and Ken Lehman. And he gains 8. Argonauts 2nd and 2 at the 43.5-yard line. The 44 is where they have it. They're 2nd and a yard. The pitch to Jim Dillard results in a first down. Billy Cooper, 23, making contact with Dillard at the 48-yard line. 4-yard gain and a Toronto first down. And we have not seen many Argonaut first downs in this game. It is only their second this afternoon. Gabler tries to release to Simons. The ball wasn't where it should have been. And it's 2nd and 10. Bernie, the Rough Riders get all the credit in the world for taking away almost the entire Argonaut running game. Bob Moyer now with a report from the Ottawa bench.
Ankle, they've taken him in. They're going to take the tape off and take a look at it, but the trainer says he'll be all right and should be out in the second half.
That's the word on Bull Scott then. Neil Smith cannot bring the ball down at the 45-yard line, and it's 3rd down at 10 from the Argonaut 48.
Now, you were talking about the Ottawa Rough Riders taking away the big running game, and we spoke briefly earlier about how they overshifted to the wide side of the field. Playing against the Rough Riders many times, they never give you the same defense twice in a row, so you're going to have to alternate, and you can't be stereotyping your attack.
Dave Mann's kick, another long one. Ardern at the 10-yard line. And he almost broke away. Alan Ray Aldridge, as Temper's player again at the 15-yard line, made that high neck tackle. The punt carried 53 yards.
Tempers are still very high, Don. Evidence Alan Ray Aldridge looked like he was wrestling a steer down there. He had him right around the head, and of course, football players take offense to this, and you'll see what happens when tempers flare up. There's a little bit of talk and also physical anger.
Liebrock is in to play that tackle spot, which is alternated among 3 men, Bray, Liebrock, and Wadsworth. The change is brought about by Wadsworth's first quarter injury. Liebrock, 52, is there now. From the 15, the Rough Riders have first down. Giardino playing for Scott. They rule Ottawa took too long in getting that ball away, and they stop the play as it unravels. That is the first penalty of any description against the Ottawa Rough Riders this afternoon. Argonauts have had a number of infractions, the 2 most significant. The one that took away the pass interception by Alan Ray Aldridge, and the other the pass interference in the end zone. Kelly Moat with Frank Clare, and you can tell things are going well when Frank doesn't have that earphone sticking out of his hat, looking as though it's part of his person. Gary Selinger now is the Ottawa center, number 42. Washington at the 19-yard line, dragging Marvin Luster for a free ride. The gain was about 8 yards, so from near the 20, the Riders are 2nd and 5.5 to go. Clock shows just over a minute until halftime. We invite you to stay for our halftime features. Near the 32-yard line, the gain is about 3 for Giardino again. Marvin Luster, the tackler that time, number 27. The Ottawa backfield with Scott gone consists of Giardino, Washington, Tucker, and Stewart, Adkins and Roberts the ends, and of course Jackson at quarterback as the 1-minute flag waves here at Lansdowne Park in the second quarter. Jackson clipped, gets away, and then is down at the 35-yard line, short by 4 of the first down. Liebrock and Nechtel were the tacklers in the play. And again, one of the rare occasions this afternoon in which Ottawa has been forced to kick.
Jackson doing a very fine job running out the clock, Don, for this first half. And the Ottawa Rough Riders are going to have to make little or no adjustments for the second half, but the Toronto Argonauts are going to have to make a great adjustment in order to get back into this football game. And I would imagine they'll come out possibly with that shotgun type of an offense again and throw just about every down. They're going to have to.
Van Berkelio will kick to Learn and Copeland. Just got that away. Copeland lost the ball, and it's picked up by the Rough Riders at the 48-yard line. Jay Roberts with the fumble recovery right at halftime. The kick traveled only 27 yards, but it looked like another major break for Ottawa, except for one thing. There was no time in which to turn the break into a series of plays, and it's 33-13 at halftime of the second game of the two-game total points Eastern Final. That score is in terms of the series. Margene Atkins got things going early for the Rough Riders on a reception of a 32-yard pass from Russ Jackson. That made it 7-0 in the game and put the Riders ahead in the series 18-13. Southern's second quarter field goal of 30 yards made it 21-13. A safety touch Dave Mann had to give up over a high snap made it 23-13. And then the little pitch to Bo Scott over the center for 20 yards made it 30-13, and Southern's second field goal of 17 yards produces the halftime score of 33-13. Bob Moyer now has Ken Lehman as his special guest.
Ken, the Ottawa Rough Riders have scored a lot of points in the first half, but that defense has kept the ball away from the Toronto Argonauts. Have you done anything different this week than on this good field?
We knew we had to stop running with Simons and do it, and also contain Gabler, and I think we just made up our mind to come on, and so far we've been doing a good job.
Have there been any key plays as far as you've been concerned? Because you did knock the ball out of Bobby Taylor's hand yourself.
Yeah, I think that was a key play because they were moving the ball at that time, and this is actually what happens, on a wet day like this, and when you have a lot of hard hitting. I think breaks make the game,
Well, I was going to say the Ottawa Rough Riders have actually caused a few fumbles today, and everybody seems to be hitting extra hard. Was there anything special during the week that got you into this frame of mind?
Well, we made a few mistakes last week, and the guys knew they didn't come on as well as they could have, and we just made up our mind to really go out and play a good ball game.
All right, Kenny Lehman, thank you very, very much. Now back upstairs to Ernie Afghani's.
Moyer with Ken Lehman, and the score is Ottawa 33, Toronto 13, and we'll continue with our halftime show right after this message.
At this point, we welcome the local viewers in Ottawa, and for you, the news is very good. In terms of the series, it is 33-13 for Ottawa. In terms of this game, 22-0 for the Rough Riders at halftime. And here's mainly why, as we see in statistics for the opening 30 minutes of play. The Ottawa Rough Riders 12 first downs to 2 for Toronto. Yards rushing, -1 for the Argonauts, 168 Rough Riders, passing 71 to 49, producing a total offense of 217 for Ottawa and 70 for Toronto. Gabler, very sharp in passing, going mainly to Bobby Taylor, has been good on 7 of 10, 5 for 11 for Russ Jackson. The average punts, 41 yards for Toronto's Dave Mann, as against 27 in 2 attempts for Bill Van Berkelio. The fumbles have played a role. The Argonauts have fumbled 3 times and lost them all. The Rough Riders have had the 1 fumble, and penalties have been important too. with 40 yards and penalties against Toronto. One took away a pass interception by Alan Ray Aldridge, and 5 yards against the Ottawa Rough Riders. Field goals, Southern having 2, has produced an extra 6 points for this Ottawa football club. And the score is Ottawa 33 and Toronto 13.
Well, Bernie, I think that when Frank Clare said before the game that he has been through this mill quite often, so have his players, the pressure shouldn't bother him. Apparently, he was right.
Well, sometimes ball players play better under pressure too, Ernie. And in a game such as this, I think there are some little bit of, a little bit of pressure in everybody. But Frank Clare had it pretty well tabbed, and I'm sure his defense, as Ken Lehman said, they had to stop the big rushing of Dillard and Simons, and they overshifted. They've done this, they've done that, made a few different adjustments, and it's paying off for them.
I think if there was a turning point in that first half, I think it must have been Dillard's fumble, because Ottawa came on and scored after that. We have that as a highlight.
That's right. Jim Dillard on a wide end run, running very hard, was hit, and the ball just popped right out of his hands. And this was the indication here that of a hard-hitting type of football game. And from that point on, went into score on a big pass to Margene Atkins.
Here we go here. Jackson looks cool, doesn't he?
And look how wide open Margene Atkins is going into that end zone. That's something that you don't see too often. This is something too, Ernie. Dave Mann doesn't have a chance on this ball. It's over his head.
That's the bad snap.
He makes an excellent professional football play here by giving up 2 points, Ernie, rather than trying to kick it out. This is the one where Boscott jumps in just where the safety blitzer came from. And there's nobody in that area. He catches the ball, walks into the end zone, so to speak, for that touchdown.
Almost nothing to it, really, because, and it happened twice.
Yes, it did happen twice. And later on in that first half, too, this big interference penalty that led to a field goal to give the Argonauts
a little bit of
not an edge. The Ottawa call to give the Argonauts that dejected look, because the interference call was in the end zone, and it was one of those calls that one ball player is running for the ball one direction, the receiver's running for the other, and they collide. But of course, it's interference and it has to be called.
Quickly, though, I think, Bernie, the question to ask here is, can Ottawa maintain, and can Toronto come back? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, thank you very much. The score is Ottawa 33 and Toronto 13. And we'll return with the second half kickoff right after this message.
Don Chevrier at Lansdowne Park with Bernie Filoni, Ernie Afaganis, Bob Moyer, our spotter Art Darch, our statistician Ron Andrews, ready for the final 30 minutes of football in the East this year. That is of Eastern Conference play. Next week, the Grey Cup, and the Rough Riders are, with a 20-point lead, one big step closer to a date with the Calgary Stampeders off their play in the first half. And they've delighted 25,085 fans. The official paid attendance at Lansdowne Park this afternoon, as the temperatures in the mid-30s, the field holding up remarkably well after about 10 days of rain and snow in the capital. 33-13 and 22-0 on the game is the score favoring the Ottawa Rough Riders. And they may look back when it's all over in Toronto to an early sequence of plays when Neil Smith was wide open downfield, but Wally Gabler, the quarterback, threw short to Bobby Taylor, not seeing Smith in the clear. Had the Argonauts scored there, perhaps the tempo of this game might have changed, giving them a 9-point lead at that point. But the Rough Riders certainly have been the overwhelming, dominant team in the opening 30 minutes. Don Chevrier at Lansdowne Park with Bernie Filoni, Ernie Afaganis, Bob Moyer, our spotter Art Darch, our statistician Ron Andrews, ready for the final 30 minutes of football in the East this year. That is of Eastern Conference play. Next week, the Grey Cup, and the Rough Riders are, with a 20-point lead, one big step closer to a date with the Calgary Stampeders off their play in the first half. And they've delighted 25,085 fans. The official paid attendance at Lansdowne Park this afternoon, as the temperatures in the mid-30s, the field holding up remarkably well after about 10 days of rain and snow in the capital. 33-13 and 22-0 on the game is the score favoring the Ottawa Rough Riders. And they may look back when it's all over in Toronto to an early sequence of plays when Neil Smith was wide open downfield. But Wally Gabler, the quarterback, threw short to Bobby Taylor, not seeing Smith in the clear. Had the Argonauts scored there, perhaps the tempo of this game might have changed, giving them a 9-point lead at that point. But the Rough Riders certainly have been the overwhelming, dominant team in the opening 30 minutes, as we saw on the stats and the highlights at halftime. Toronto is getting set to kick off to the Ottawa Rough Riders to begin the third quarter as the lights are on at Lansdowne Park. And going back on the kickoff return team, Vic Washington, number 27, and number 23, Billy Cooper. Mike Even, seldom used apart from the kickoff teams, number 32, chats with Dave Mann as man. Positions the ball in the tee at the 45-yard line. And the second half is underway. Cooper at the 16. At the 52-yard line, Billy Cooper on an outstanding run back of the opening kickoff of the half. Here it is.
Some excellent running and blocking here. Pullen, we can't see, just laying on the field there as Billy Cooper runs by him, was sort of shaken up on the play, but he's running off the field now and looks like he's going to be all right. He was tackled on that particular play by Charlie Bray of the Argonauts.
36 yards, Cooper's return from the 52, their own. The Riders first and 10. Jackson in trouble, down for a loss at the 49. Pete Martin, 77, coming strong from the corner, was the man who finally met him. He was clipped by another Argonaut as he tried to come back up into the pass pocket and throw. Bo Scott has still not returned defensively for the Rough Riders after his second quarter injury. Wayne Giardino, 21, is in that backfield. With Tucker, Vic Washington, Ron Stewart, and Jackson. Tucker left and Adkins right. Track, but he's all right.
Margin Atkins on a break-in play here, catches the ball and runs diagonally all the way across the field to pick up that first down. But the amazing part about this is they had a safety blitz on. That's the Argonauts had a safety blitz on, an 8-man blitz, and Jackson still had time to throw that football. He's getting a tremendous protection back there for his passing this afternoon.
Giardino picked up that blitz beautifully and gave him a block to get the ball away. The gain is 18. First down, 43-yard line. Ronnie Stewart. And it's close to 7 yards. Ron Oren, 17, from the defensive backfield, made the tackle.
Stewart, the ball carrier, again of
Lights at Lansdowne Park, helping to brighten a very dull afternoon. That's only in terms of weather. As far as the fans in Ottawa are concerned, it's the brightest day of the year. Rough Riders ahead by 20 points on the series, 33-13. We are early in the third quarter. Giardino, first down it appears. Marvin Luster, number 27, caught him at the 32-yard line, and they do move the yardsticks to indicate the Ottawa first down. Here is Bob Moyer at the Ottawa bench.
According to the Ottawa bench, Bo Scott, if he had to play, could play, but they're not going to use him unless they have to, Don.
At the 31, first down, Rough Riders. Adkins right, Tucker to the left. Jackson on the move. Flag is thrown for Giardino at the 20. And he's out at the 10-yard line. Jimmy Dye forcing him into touch. But there was a marker thrown on the play.
Giardino in a little fullback slant into the flat on this quick rollout by Jackson. He just lobs the ball out there to him. Giardino catches the ball and makes good yardage. There he is all alone. Lowers his shoulder, but is knocked out of bounds and wrestled down by number 10, Dye.
The play will stand. The Argonauts, Bernie, were offside. And from the 10-yard line, it is first down for the Rough Riders. The pitch to Dick Washington. He has 3 yards near the Argo 7. Marvin Luster, 27, catching up with it.
Washington, the ball carrier, gain of 3 on the play. Luster makes the tackle. Second down, Riders, 7 to go.
The Riders hoping to strike early in this third quarter, add to their lead, and just about put this series out of reach for the Toronto Argonauts. Jackson, touchdown! Martin is injured at the goal line for Toronto.
Martin looks like he has a shoulder injury or something down there. It's hard to say from this point on. But that last play that Jackson came out on, Martin was in on that tackle.
There's a timeout on the field. At the 4-minute mark of the third quarter, the series score is Ottawa 39 and Toronto 13. Argonaut bench, and now here's Don Sutherland's point after attempt, following Jackson's touchdown. Sutherland is good again. Ottawa 40, Toronto 13 on the round, a difference of 27 points. And here's Jackson's touchdown.
Jackson rolled out just prior to this and threw to his fullback Giardino, and he's looking for him here. But there's a tremendous block, as you see there, where Martin was hurt by Bainon, and Jackson leaping into the end zone there for that touchdown.
He flew right over Martin and almost took a piece of feed with him. The kickoff from Sutherland. Simons charging the ball at the 18. Returns to the 33-yard line. Gary Campbell tackled him on a return of 17. And trailing by almost 4 converted touchdowns, the Argonauts have the ball in play. Ernie Affiganis.
Don, I just talked to Pete Martin. He said that he had his head jammed back and hit pretty hard. He was out momentarily. He's back, though, and apparently he's going to be okay.
Gabler, Taylor is open. He has him. Cooper tagging Taylor at the 31-yard line. Argonauts' best gain today.
That's a play pass type of action, and let's watch Bobby Taylor as he gets behind 23 Cooper, and Gabler throws the ball perfectly. It doesn't even look like a tackle. It looks like he's pushed down there, as we can see by Cooper, but it's considered a tackle, and the ball is dead. But right, Don, the biggest gain, and they're going to have to do this every time they get their hands on that football.
The gain was 46. Too far. Bobby Taylor has nearly 150 yards in pass completions today. He's been a one-man offense for the Argonauts, who have passed well when they have thrown, but they have not thrown that often. Their ground game has been ground to a halt. 2nd and 10 now. The ball still at the 31-yard line of the Ottawa Rough Riders, who lead 40-13. Smith left with Taylor wide left. Tipped away by Ken Lehman from Bobby Taylor. And it's 3rd and 10. Last week the story was the Argonaut defense, and today it is the Rough Rider defense, taking away many of the things the Argonauts do well, including Bobby Taylor on the end of passes from Wally Gabler. Dave Mann will attempt a field goal from the 39-yard line.
Sure will. It'll keep all the people guessing as to why the field goal at this point when you're so many points down in a 2-game total point series. One would think that you'd have to go for the big 6 points. The 3 points aren't going to help that much, and certainly 1 point is not going to help at all at this late stages of this ball game.
It means that instead of being 27 points down, the Argonauts are now 26 points down, 40-14. Jackson with a muddy uniform, calling the first down play. Wayne Giardino is near the 30-yard line. Met by Bob Petridge, number 72. He is marked for a gain of 3.5 yards.
Gain of 4. Petridge made the tackle. 2nd down Riders. 6 to go.
And the Rough Riders have somebody who needs attention in their huddle. Appears to be the ball carrier on the last play, Wayne Giardino. Jackson, you see, flexing his leg. He appeared to be limping as he came off after the touchdown. Giardino now getting treatment from the Rough Rider trainers. He came in to play for Bo Scott when Scott was hurt late in the 2nd quarter. Of course, he's a regular on defense, and it's meant 2 platoon for Mr. Giardino ever since Scott was hurt. 8:41 remaining in this 3rd quarter, and the score is 40-14. Lavelle Coleman, number 24, will come in to play for Wayne Giardino. Here is Ernie Afghaniz.
Don, while Giardino is going out, Mike Blum has just been taken to the dressing room. He has a very severe headache. Apparently, the doctors have said that he has concussion, and he will play no more football in this game.
More bad news for the Argonauts. Injuries mounting on both sides. This bruising 2nd game of the Eastern Final. Washington in heavy traffic down at the 30-yard line. The gain will be only a couple, and the Argonauts will get the ball on a 3rd down punt for the Rough Riders. Nechtel and Aldridge with the tacklers that time on Vic Washington. Grey Cup Day 1968 begins at 10 a.m. Eastern Time next Saturday on the CBC television network and continues right through the game. Kickoff at 1 at C&E Stadium.
Watch him, Jerry! Jerry on the outside! Careful!
The bounding snap, and Van Berkelio has the punt away. Copeland at the 50-yard line is tackled by Tom Pullen, number 71. The kick was only 30 yards, but with the snap from center bouncing in front of him, Van Berkelio did well just to get it away. 7:52 remaining now in the 3rd quarter, 40-14 is the series score favoring Ottawa. Quick toss, Smith, as Campbell just missed the interception.
Edward Pines intended for Smith. Incomplete.
The ball appeared to arise sooner than Smith thought it might, Bernie.
Those quick passes right up the center, Don. You come in behind the linebacker, and the ball is there. Sometimes you don't even see it, and it hits you right in the chest or hands, as indicated there. Smith couldn't hold on to it.
Number 21, Wayne Giardino, has returned to play defensively for the Ottawa Rough Riders, so there's no rest for this young man. Profit way behind him, Campbell covering, and the Argonauts run to third down at the 50-yard line.
That ball was tipped, Don. Gabler stopped to throw back, and as he did, he was being rushed in there by number 53, Shirk, and 52, Kane, and the ball was tipped.
There was a penalty for holding against the Ottawa Rough Riders. Their second penalty today, and it moves the ball to the Rough Rider 50-yard line, from where the Argonauts will have a first down. Ed Joyner, number 63, has come in. Wally Gabler talking with Leo Cahill at the Argonaut bench there a moment ago. Joyner was the extra import, designated import for the Rough Riders, so we assume that Bo Scott will play no more today. Bobby Taylor, 34-yard line. Ken Lehman made the tackle, and it's an Argonaut first down. The gain is 16 yards.
Number 41, Don, Ken Lehman, being heralded by Ottawa as their outstanding lineman of the year. And here's an indication of how he covers back there by going back to that hook zone and tackling Bobby Taylor, 24.
Simons wide left with Taylor set to the right. Gabler on the move. Will keep Marker down. Gabler is marked out on the 7-yard line. But let's see what the red marker was all about. Illegal procedure against the Toronto Argonauts. Nullifies the game. And the Rough Riders gladly accept at this point. Penalty 5 yards back to the 40-yard line. It'll be first and 15 from there.
Don, the designated import, Joyner, has replaced Bo Scott in the Ottawa Rough Rider lineup.
That's official now. Scott, with the injury, through for the day. That pass just bouncing in front of the Ottawa pass defender, Billy Cooper. And it's second and 15.
Second down, Argonauts, 15 to go.
Best thing the Argonauts had going for them up until a minute or two ago was their passing game, and even that is in difficulty at this point. Markle with a message from Leo Cahill as 71 Irwin comes out. Ball is at the 40-yard line, just a step inside. Bobby Taylor sets wide right. Back to Bill Simons, and he reaches the 34-yard line, but does not have a first down. The gain is about 6.
Toronto's trying everything, Don, to get onto that scoreboard by a touchdown, and here he is, Wally Gabler, throwing on a backward pass, as you mentioned, a swing pattern to the weak side to Bill Simons, and just not enough to get up there for that first down.
Ottawa recovering to cover very well in that play, which appeared to have an open side for Simons. They're going to gamble on third down. They have 9 yards to go. Bobby Taylor
keep the experts guessing now, Don. Kicking a field goal when they were down in there before, trying to kick a field goal, and here on a third down situation coming up and throwing a touchdown pass to Bobby Taylor.
Here's Dave Mann's first convert attempt today. He able to hold. And Mann is good on the extra point. That makes the series score 40-21 for all the Rough Riders. 19 points between these teams.
Here's that replay, Don. Bobby Taylor out into the right flat, catches the ball going backwards, and from that point makes an excellent run. But he also has some blocking downfield, as you will see, as he jumps back and forth, and Smith is occupying that defensive halfback back there to enable Taylor to get into the end zone.
Washington 27 and Cooper 23 at the 10-yard line. 5:16 remaining in the third quarter. Washington cut down on an immediate tackle by Swift at the 24-yard line. The return was 19 yards on Dave Mann's 61-yard kickoff. The Rough Riders have about their worst field position all day. They have had that ball in the main across the Argonaut half of the 55-yard line. Harrington, Lebrock, Knechtel, and Petrich, the front four for the Argonauts. McKee is playing at the corner for Mike Bloom. Jackson calls for silence. He tried to hit Adkins deep, overthrew him with Ron Lorenz, number 17, covering, and it goes to 2nd and 10 from the 23.
It's a typical Russ Jackson maneuver down in his own end zone area, and would probably think that with this many points ahead, they come out running that football and trying to maintain ball control. But there he goes for that big bomb. Had Adkins in the open, overthrew him, but a complete surprise to that Argonaut defense.
Jackson holding a long team meeting, brings them out 2nd and 10. Here's the blitz against him. They catch Giardino on the exchange from Jackson for a loss. Marvin Luster came through, followed by Alan Ray Aldridge, with the tackles on Giardino at the 18-yard line, producing a loss of 5. It's 3rd and 15. The Argonauts seem to be fired up after ending their frustration offensively with the score by Bobby Taylor. They trail by 19 points. 4 minutes remain in this, the third quarter. And Berkeley's kick almost blocked, bouncing for Copeland, and he's tackled at the 48-yard line by Tom Pullen.
Down here, the Toronto Argonauts are in excellent field position, and if they can maintain that momentum that they have been pushing on in this half so far and score before the end of this quarter, they're going to be in very fine position for that final period.
Rough Riders have too many men on the field. 2 are hobbling off. Pass to Smith is ruled incomplete. And it's 2nd and 10. And Leo Cahill is giving one of the officials a lecture down there at the 45-yard line. I'm not sure it's about the Ottawa players getting out slowly. More likely that he thought that Smith had made the catch. It's 2nd and 10. Flag thrown. The pass for Al Irwin too far. And in the meeting following the dropping of the penalty flag at the 45-yard line. It is against the Ottawa Rough Riders.
That was a defensive holding penalty, Don, against the Ottawa Rough Riders. Number 65, Billy Joe Booth, was the culprit, and it's a penalty of 10 yards.
And a Toronto first down. Bill Simon. Touchdown! And the Argonauts are creeping closer with every passing minute. Danny Nicolak threw a tremendous block on that little flip from Wally Gabler to Bill Simons, and what speed Simons displayed as he went 30-some yards for the score. 37 was the exact length of the run. Man again with the extra point attempt, Gabler holding. It is blocked by Joe Poirier.
Don, it's becoming ever more apparent. We'll talk about that in a minute.
There's a timeout on the field at the 12-minute mark of this third quarter. The series score is now Ottawa 40 and Toronto 27. 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. Here's Dave Mann's kickoff. To Billy Cooper. And Cooper is caught inside the 40-yard line near the 36. Here's the Bill Simons touchdown.
Just a little check pattern, similar to what Bo Scott scored on. And Bill Simons running all the way in with some of his teammates. Dillard throwing a block at the goal line, which really wasn't necessary to score that touchdown.
16-yard kickoff return has the ball at the 37-yard line. Rough Riders first down. Argonauts pressing them now. Giardino on the pitch out is near the 40 for a gain of maybe 3. Bernie, you were saying earlier about strategy. The Argonauts have shown they can move the ball if they decide to go for some gambling down here.
We're saying it's becoming ever more apparent, John, that they went for that field goal, and it's going to be questioned by...
3 minutes to go in the third quarter. Here's Dave Mann's kickoff. To Billy Cooper. And Cooper is caught inside the 40-yard line near the 36. Here's the Bill Simons touchdown.
Just a little check pattern, similar to what Bo Scott scored on. And Bill Simons running all the way in with some of his teammates. Dillard throwing a block at the goal line, which really wasn't necessary to score that touchdown.
16-yard kickoff return has the ball at the 37-yard line. Rough Riders first down. Argonauts pressing them now. Giardino on the pitch out is near the 40 for a gain of maybe 3. Bernie, you were saying earlier about strategy. The Argonauts have shown they can move the ball if they decide to go for some gambling down here.
We're saying it's becoming ever more apparent, John, that they went for that field goal, and it's going to be questioned by the experts as you would have, as to whether or not they should have tried to go for that touchdown. As it came out on the second attempt down there, Taylor did score. This would have put them much closer. They still have a lot of time in this ball game. But that one point that we talked about said wasn't going to make much difference. May win this ball game.
Second down and 7. Pursuit on Jackson. The pass is incomplete for Rick Tucker. He had that ball for a split second, and Jimmy Dye made contact, and Jay Hill is all fired up. That was a big defensive play.
And it's for Tucker, incomplete.
Number 17, Arenz, is limping down there. He was in on that play just as Jackson threw that football. On a cold day like this, even if you get stepped on, it hurts.
Well, I'll tell you, on a warm day, it might hurt too. Third down. And Berkeley out to kick to Copeland and Learn. Ed Learn at the 43-yard line, knocking heads with 3 or 4 Rough Riders. The final collision was with Tom Schutte. And Berkeley's kick only 32 yards. The return was 2, and from their 43, the Argonauts are first down, 1:29 remaining in the third quarter. It was developing into quite an interesting Eastern Conference final. Less than 2 converted touchdowns apart are these teams, with Ottawa leading 40-27. Argonauts with some momentum now. Booth, Shirk, Joyner, Braggins the front 4 against Wally Gabler at quarterback. Neil Smith at the 25 couldn't quite reach the ball, and it goes to 2nd and 10. Gaines and Van Berkeley back there with him.
This is going to be a great test for Wally Gabler, because even though you have to throw that football, put it in the air, it's not necessary with as much time as he does have left to keep going for the long bomb. And the idea is to move that football as many yards as quickly as possible.
He's getting an abundance of time to throw, too. Jim Dillard incomplete, and it's 3rd and 10. There's the flag until 3/4 time. 49 seconds showing on the clock. The punt return man are Cooper and Ardern at the 25 and the 15. Now Cooper steps up to the 30 and gets a tremendous kick away. At the 10-yard line, Ardern. And he's chased out at the 26 by Nicolak and Charlie Bray. 56 yards, Dave Mann's kick. Now we have 26 seconds remaining in the third quarter. The game is 29-14 for Ottawa, and on the series, Riders lead 40-27. First down from the 27-yard line. Vic Washington. Good blocking. He's finally surrounded at the 45. The gun ends the third quarter of play. At the end of the third quarter, the series score is Ottawa 40, Toronto 27. We'll have more CFL playoff action after this message. With a 40-27 score.
There's a little flip to Washington, and whenever the Argonauts get into a safety blitz situation, as they did on that particular play, they're vulnerable to this type of an offense. And Washington, behind some beautiful blocking, once he did get outside to turn the corner, picked up a great amount of yardage, and this is what was needed by the Rough Riders to get them out of that territory, their own territory, get them across midfield, and get them into a scoring position to try to get the Argonauts now on the run instead of the Ottawa Rough Riders always being on defense and on the run.
First down inside the 50. Big charge, and Jackson goes down. Marvin Luster with the first tackle at the 52.
That was number 27, Marvin Luster, coming in there to make that tackle. This is the safety blitz type of an arrangement. If he doesn't blitz from the middle. He moves out to that outside corner and comes on strong.
The Argonauts have had to take Neil Smith out of this game to make way for Ken Corbin defensively. Corbin is playing mainly because Mike Bloom has been told not to play anymore today by the club doctor. Corbin, number 40. Flag thrown. Jackson under heavy pressure, down again. Back at the 35-yard line with the markers down near the line of scrimmage.
Jackson went over a 17-yard loss by Leibrock, heavily on the play.
And the holding call was against Ottawa, and so that loss will stand. 17 yards back to the 36. The Riders are third and 37 to go.
Third down, Riders, 37 to go.
Edlern slips at the 38-yard line, just getting up ahead of steam, and Tom Cullen makes sure that he's down to stay. 42 yards, Van Berkelio's punt. Learn, scramble back for 5. Mike Eben, 32, is playing at the wingback spot for Neil Smith. The pass incomplete through Simons at the 45-yard line. And it'll be 2nd and 10. A minute and 40 seconds gone in the 4th quarter. 40-27, Ottawa leads on the round. Pumps for Prophet. It is no good. Van Berkelio defending just as Prophet reached for the ball. He tipped it away. And the Argos have never been able to come back to that tremendous momentum they had going, Bernie, when they got those 2 quick touchdowns late in the 3rd quarter. Their last 2 series, they've been forced to yield the ball on a punt.
That's right, Don. They're going to have to maintain their momentum. Perhaps maybe Simons or one of the outstanding ball players will come up with a big play that is needed.
Lehman with a great attempt to block that kick, which is away to Cooper, and he is down at the 39 of the Rough Riders. At 3-quarter time, the total offense showed Ottawa with 314 yards and 208 for the Argonauts. 16 first downs, Rough Riders 5 for Toronto. The Argo passing game of 172 yards is their most important statistic today. Gabler has been good on 10 of 20 at 3-quarter time. Jackson 9 of 15. Dick Washington. All the way down to the 46-yard line.
I don't see how this can be a planned play, but it looks like it was, to fake a pitch to the strong side and then stop and come back to the weak side, because there's blocking out there by Margene Atkins to help him on this long run.
He picked up 23. And Bo Scott, being the strong back for the Rough Riders, he's injured, and now Washington is able to break loose for long yardage too. Giardino is playing in Scott's place, of course. A carry of about 5 yards. Petrich and Learn made the tackles on Wayne Giardino, number 21.
Giardino, the ball carrier.
The winner today goes into CNE Stadium next Saturday in Toronto against the Calgary Stampeders. And CBC will bring you a full day of Grey Cup activities starting at 10 o'clock Eastern Time Saturday morning with Grey Cup Festival. Then the parade. Grey Cup preview and the game itself beginning at 1 Eastern Time. Argos offside. Giardino to the 35 had the first down anyway. Lebrock jumped in ahead of the play.
Argonauts offside.
The Argo offside, and Giardino's gain makes no difference. The first down is at the 36-yard line for the Rough Riders, who now, Bernie, as you said earlier, may decide to control this ball and eliminate much of the time remaining. 11:05 showing up in the fourth quarter. 40-27 is the score. Riders taking a lot of time, and they couldn't even get to the line of scrimmage before the delay of game was invoked. So it comes back 5 yards.
You know what can happen on situations like this, Don, and it's happened to me when I was a quarterback, but here we go again. We have to talk about this later.
That we will. The timeout on the field at the 4-minute mark of the fourth quarter. The series score is Ottawa 40, Toronto 27.
And yet he wants to change it to another formation, and one play doesn't go with each of the formations he's thinking about. So by the time he gets everything all squared away, it's delay of the ball game.
Jackson breaks out, surrounded at the 30-yard line, about 5 away from his first down objective. Gordon and Ed Harrington surrounding him there.
Jackson, not being able to find his receivers downfield, breaks up through the center and picks up some good yardage, but not quite enough for the first down. However, there's a holding penalty called, and that will move the yardsticks.
Well, it will give them a 1st and 5 from the 30-yard line or just outside. .30 remaining in the fourth quarter. Rough Riders with a 13-point lead, 40-27. Tucker sets left, Adkins right. Wayne Giardino sliding near the 26-yard line for 3 to 4 yards. Lebrock and Neckel were the tacklers. The Argonauts have Ken Corbin playing as an inside linebacker. They've moved Alan Ray Aldridge, number 44, out to Bloom's spot. Bloom is through for the day. And Mike Wadsworth being hurt. Lebrock's been playing at defensive tackle for him. So the changes have forced the Argonauts to adjust rather rapidly. The measurement for the first down indicates they are 2nd and 1, just outside the 25. Jackson again, taking plenty of time. And he bumps in there close to the 25-yard line and appears to have, yes he does, the first down.
Don, it looks though as that's a normal situation where Russ Jackson would have probably gone for a play pass type of an action to throw the touchdown play. However, it looks like his instructions or his ideas are to just maintain possession of that football, keep it away from the Argonauts, run out this game on long counts, and just hold the ball as long as possible.
First down from the Argonaut 25. Atkins and Tucker both to the left now. Strength shifted left. Giardino to the 15-yard line. A gain of the better part of 10.
Wayne Giardino standing in for Bo Scott, number 16, is really doing well. There's the boy that's playing offensive and defensive football, playing a lot of football today, and doing a great job of playing both offensive and defense.
Learn catching him from behind, then getting support from his mates, and they look at it. indicate that they're just that far away on second down from the first down. 8:40 remaining until full time in regulation time. 40-27 is the score. Second game of the Eastern Football Final. Again, it was Giardino being poured through there for the first down near the 11-yard line. Luster and Corbin with the tackles for Toronto. Riders achieving 2 objectives, getting close to the goal line for insurance points and erasing much of the time on the clock with these running plays. Wayne Giardino again crosses the 10, gets down to around the 8. The gain will be 3. Nechtil and Petrich, the left side of the Argonaut defensive line, supplying the tackles that time. Riders, of course, can get a first down here without scoring a touchdown. Clock moving down to the 7-minute mark. 7 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Those lights are certainly necessary now on this dark afternoon. They come. 5-yard penalty. Leo Cahill was on the field, actually about 5 yards in from the sidelines, waving frantically at the officials who were well aware of the time involved. And the ball comes back 5. Clincher for the Rough Riders. Tucker cut across away from Jimmy Dye and had that corner all to himself. It's 46-27, and Southern will attempt the convert. It is good. The Riders have reinstated their lead of 20 points, 47-27 on the round.
Jackson finally hitting Tucker for that 6 points, and Tucker on a comeback pattern. As you can see, is into the end zone and has to come back to catch that football deep into the end zone. And as we have mentioned, or as Don mentioned, maybe the clincher, 47-27 on the round.
6 minutes and 54 seconds remain. Simons deep with Dye to receive Southern's kickoff. Simons has it bounced and picks it up. And he is pulled down immediately across the 25 by Barry Ardern. Simons returning the ball 16 yards. And at the 26, Argonauts are first down, trailing by 20 points. Frank Clare in a little happier mood now, following that touchdown by Tucker. Gabler, good pursuit, still loose. Mike Even with the catch at the 40-yard line, and that will be an Argonaut first down. Gene Gaines and Billy Cooper. The tackle on Mike Eben. Eben hasn't played very much. He's from the University of Toronto Blues last year. Originally BC Lions property, came to the Argonauts in a trade with the Lions. And he's a sure-handed pass receiver. Simon sweeps right. And Ken Lehman cut him down at the 42-yard line. That was a battle of the nominee for outstanding player in the East against the nominee for outstanding lineman, and the lineman won on that occasion. To indicate the dominance in the game offensively of the Ottawa team, they have run 63 plays from scrimmage as opposed to 41 plays to this point for the Argonauts. Taylor wide left. Pass behind Eben. Too far for Simon. And it's third down with 9 to go from the 41. 5 minutes and 30 seconds separate the Ottawa Rough Riders from a Grey Cup date with the Calgary Stampeders. If it happens, it'll be the first time since 1948, exactly 20 years. And Bernie, you know, 1948 started the Grey Cup on the road to becoming the festival it is now. Dave Mann's kick. Ardern slips, recovers. A little fencing contest with Al Irwin, and finally he's eased out of bounds at the 29-yard line.
Don, you spoke about that 1948 Grey Cup game between Calgary and Ottawa, or started in 1948 as if I was there. I'd been to a few of them, but I wasn't playing in the Canadian Football League or football in 1948, Don.
Well, I didn't mean to infer that, Bernie. Just by way of reference to the origination point of all the Grey Cup hijinks. I know that in 1954 you were around as Jackie Parker returned the Hunsinger fumble. Couple of late tackles there, but they're allowed to let go as tempers again run high. The 33-yard line, Giardino has a gain. They mark it on the 32 of 3 yards. Ken Corbin was the tackler.
Gain of 3. Second down Riders, 7 to go.
Clock now shows 4 minutes and 20 seconds of playing time remaining. 47-27, the series score. Ottawa leading. Russ Jackson with a strength set left. Good rush. Ducks under one. Gets the ball away. Atkins can't reach it. Corbin got a little piece of Russ Jackson, but Russ scrambled through the tunnel. Got back up the throw. Incomplete for Atkins. Third down and 7. The Riders will have to punt. Then Berkeley-O, number 15, will kick to 15 for the Argonauts. Learn. And number 30, Jimmy Copeland. Good bounce past Copeland at the 15-yard line. Back to the 26. Tom Pullen again, who's in on the majority of those punt return tackles, made this one for the Rough Riders. 60-yard kick to the 10-yard return. And with 3:35 to play, it's Argo ball at the 26. Mike Eben in for Smith, sets left with Taylor. Gabler for Jim Dillard. It is intercepted near midfield by Don Sutherland. Man races about the last dying gasp for Leo Cahill's Toronto Argonauts. a timeout on the field. At the 12-minute mark, at the fourth quarter, the series score is Ottawa 47 and Toronto 27.
Meet Everett and Mabel Ferguson. They've traveled a lot. As a matter of fact, they're just coming back from Europe now with Canadian Pacific Airlines. Good trip, Everett? Everett and Mabel went to Amsterdam first, and then they really did Europe from there. Copenhagen. Munich. Watch it, Everett. Paris. Ah, Paris. Spain. The Costa del Sol. Where's Mabel? Oh. Lisbon. And then they went to Athens, Rome, and then home. The fast, friendly way, Canadian Pacific Airlines. When you go to Europe, ask your travel agent to book you CPA or call us. We'll put you in the picture. Canadian Pacific, serving you in so many ways.
With just about 3 minutes to go, the Ottawa Rough Riders are that far away from a Grey Cup date with Calgary. When they met here at Lansdowne Park in September, that was quite a game, too. At 17-3 at halftime, the Rough Riders had what looked to be a comfortable lead, but the Stampeders came back to win that game 27-24, as you recall, Bernie. If that's an indicator, well, we've got a great Grey Cup coming up next Saturday. Lavelle Coleman. First down at the 43-yard line.
Lavelle Coleman coming into the ball game for Giardino and running like Lavelle Coleman of old with power. And I guess at this point of the game, Don, everybody is fired up with that Ottawa Football Club and are just doing everything over and above the call of duty, so to speak.
3 minutes to go. The Ottawa Rough Riders are that far away from a Grey Cup date with Calgary. When they met here at Lansdowne Park in September, that was quite a game, too. At 17-3 at halftime, the Rough Riders had what looked to be a comfortable lead, but the Stampeders came back to win that game 27-24, as you recall, Bernie. If that's an indicator, well, we've got a great Grey Cup coming up next Saturday. Lavelle Coleman. First down at the 43-yard line.
Lavelle Coleman coming into the ball game for Giardino and running like Lavelle Coleman of old with power. And I guess at this point of the game, Don, everybody is fired up with that Ottawa Football Club and are just doing everything over and above the call of duty, so to speak.
There's Giardino. Flips off Corbin. Nechtel finally has him. But he's got himself a gain of 8 yards near the 35. So the missing backfielder is Vic Washington. You've got Giardino 21 with Lavelle Coleman number 24. Bo Scott, as you know, left early with an injury. Ronnie Stewart number 11 and Whit Tucker number 26 complete that backfield alignment. Wayne Giardino down to about the 31-yard line. We'll have the first down as they do move the yardsticks with a minute and 59 seconds to play. The ball at the 32. And a more relaxed Frank Clair. 2 minutes away from steering his team into the Grey Cup game. Coleman. Down at the 27-yard line. Some fierce contact in there, and it was number 69. Dave Nechtel finally forcing him out, aided by Ed Learn. 1:33 remaining now. Little, if any, doubt in anyone's mind as to the Eastern representative in the National Football Final. CBC will bring it to you next Saturday, 1 o'clock, the kickoff Eastern Time. Grey Cup Festival launching our coverage at 10 o'clock Eastern Daylight, or Eastern Standard Time. We're all past daylight now. In fact, there isn't much daylight here in Lansdowne Park. Jackson for Whit Tucker. Batted away. Jimmy Dye back there with Ron Arends. And the clock dwindles down to 1:24. Ottawa, third down, and 6 to go from the 28-yard line. Jimmy Dye, little guy who came to the Argonauts from the Rough Riders just as the season started. Listed at 165, but nobody's been able to prove that he weighs that much. He's a fierce little competitor. Southern attempting the field goal from the 35-yard line. Jackson holding. It is blocked. That's a free ball. Stewart. And it's recovered by the Argonauts at the 30-yard line. Looked like Marvin Luster was in there to scoop it up.
Ronnie Stewart dejected. He tried to kick that football and try to get out in the open. You can see him walking off the field after the scramble for the fumble or the blocked attempted field goal, and he's kicking at the mud and the dirt kind of dejectedly.
First down, 31-yard line. Argonauts. Oh, a gift interception right through the arms of Barry Ardern, who's in there defensively now, along with number 30, newcomer Danny Deaver. And there's the minute flag of the fourth quarter. Second and 10. Gabler to Jim Dillard. Short gain at the 33, about 2 yards. Marshall Shirk and Ed Joyner supplying the tackles, and the Argonauts on 3rd and 7 will be kicking. 49 seconds left. Right after the game, stand by for some post-game interviews with Bob Moyer near that victorious Ottawa dressing room. Man's kicked. Ardern gets a good bounce and is down at the 47-yard line as the ball popped right back into his hands. Charlie Bray with the tackle. Now there are 32 seconds of play remaining. Many of this crowd of 25,000 beginning to make their way for the exits or perhaps for the sidelines, but crowd control is quite good here in Ottawa. And barring the odd straggler, they should be able to get the complete 60 minutes of playing time in. Wayne Giardino slanting off the left side at midfield. Collects 7 yards, met by Pete Martin, number 77. 10 seconds remaining now. Now they count down. That is the crowd as the clock moves. Time is expired. Fans coming out on the field. They'll just get this one play, and that'll be it. Giardino, though, is loaded for bear. He wants to get some yardage. And it's all over. The Eastern champions of the Ottawa Rough Riders with a 47-27 series win over a game Toronto Argonaut team. The Riders came team home 2 points down. Those 2 points quickly vanished in the opening half. And in the third quarter, having piled up a big lead, the Riders added perhaps their most important touchdown of the day, Russ Jackson's 7-yard run to make it 40-13. And while the Argonauts rallied, they could never quite come back and make up the difference. The game is over. The final score is Ottawa 47 and Toronto 27. We'll be back with our summary and the stats. Coming from behind in this series. And today, as you see, they had a tremendous advantage in the statistics over the Toronto Argonauts. 22 first downs to 7, 318 yards rushing to only 38, and the Argonauts were strong along the ground last week and in the semifinal with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, but not today. Yards passing, 186 for the Argonauts and 71 for the Rough Riders. The total offense then, Ottawa 389, Toronto 224. 13 for 27, Wally Gabler. 10 for 18, Russ Jackson. The punting averages 42 yards per man and 37 for Van Berkelio. Those 3 fumbles the Argonauts lost to the Riders hurt. The Rough Riders fumbling once. Penalties 55 going Toronto's way and 35 yards against the Ottawa team. The Riders came out early with a touchdown to Margene Atkins, a 32-yard pass that put them in front 18-13 in the series, and they were never behind after that. They mounted the score, and at the beginning of the third quarter, they had a lead of 40-13 on the round and 29-0 in this game. The Argonauts came back with a rally. They got 2 touchdowns, one on a pass to Bobby Taylor, the other Bill Simons on a brilliant 37-yard dash and a short flip from Wally Gabler. But that was all. They could not go past that point. The Riders came back to score the clinching touchdown, Jackson hitting Whit Tucker for 13 yards, and the final score of 47-27. And so perhaps the 2 most exciting teams in Canada, the Ottawa Rough Riders and the Calgary Stampeders, go on to Grey Cup 1968 at the C&E Stadium next Saturday afternoon. The Riders have a full week to prepare. The Stampeders, of course, having finished off their series early on Wednesday, will have had 10 days by the time that game is played. And both teams will need that time to get rid of the bruises and the bumps that are inevitable in the tough grind of playoff football. Dave Cranmer, they expect, could play for the Calgary Stampeders along with Terry Evanston. And actually, for the Argonauts, in one sense, it is just as well they did not win because they have a number of injured players today. Wadsworth not coming back, and Mike Bloom, perhaps the biggest loss of all, on the corner, advised by the team doctor not to return because of severe headaches. And so Calgary and Ottawa having met once before this year, and the Stampeders winning it 27-24, the indications are the Grey Cup is going to be a dandy next Saturday afternoon.
Well, it'll be Ottawa and Calgary in the Grey Cup next Saturday afternoon in Toronto. And for those who may have missed the final score of today's game, it was Ottawa 36 and Toronto 14, 47-27 for Ottawa over Toronto in the 2-game total point Eastern Final. Bernie, I think that for a moment there in the third quarter, it appeared that Toronto may have picked up that momentum to come back.
They did. They moved the ball very well, Ernie, and there'll be as we spoke earlier, people will be wondering why they went for that field goal rather than going for that touchdown, because it did come out well for them in the second time they did go for the touchdown with Bobby Taylor scoring. They just didn't have enough, really.
Well, maybe we'll get some answers. Bob Moyer is all set in the Ottawa dressing room to talk to some of the players. Bob?
Tired? Russ Jackson, the quarterback of the championship team. It feels pretty good to be back in there.
Oh, that's sure, Bob. It's a tough game out there. The field was in good shape. It was a little muddy, but everybody played well. You can't say anything about Toronto. They played well. We were just a little more ready for them this week than we were last week.
Russ, you seem to get dinged on the ankle or the bottom of the leg somewhere in the third quarter. What happened?
No, I just got Charlie horse on the touchdown run. I think Peter Martin got me with his head right in the side of the leg, but nothing serious after you win.
You'll be all right for next week.
That's for sure.
What about the Calgary Stampeders? They edged you earlier in the season.
Well, we played a good ball game against Calgary here. In the regular season, we gave them an interception for a touchdown, and we fumbled on the 1-yard line, and they scored a touchdown. So we thought we'd played well against them, but it's going to be a real ding-dong. There's no question about it.
Okay, Russ, thanks very, very much.
Fine,
Good
Bob.
luck next week.
Thanks.
Whit Tucker, man who caught a touchdown pass late in the ball game. Whit, just what happened on the play?
Well, I ran what we call a post corner, and Russ threw it a little short, and I had to come back for it. I guess it made Jimmy look pretty bad, but really he played me pretty well on it.
How do you feel about getting in against the Calgary Stampeders?
Oh, I think it's a great thrill anytime you can play in the Grey Cup, and I'm really looking forward to playing against Calgary and the Imposter Fox, you know.
As we mentioned to Russ Jackson, they edged you slightly in the regular season play. What do you look for next week?
Oh, it'll be a great ball game, a lot of passing, I hope, because I'm a receiver, and I don't know, it's going to be a toss-up, definitely.
Okay, Whit Tucker, thanks very much. Bo Scott?
How you doing?
How are you?
Fine.
How's the ankle?
I was pretty good. Be ready next week.
You didn't get a chance to play in that second half.
No, the coach didn't want to take a chance.
How did you feel about the early part of the ball game that you were in?
We were going great. We were unbeatable in that first half. We were playing just great ball, both offensively and defensively.
Bo, now that you're in the Grey Cup game, what about next year? Are you going to come back to the Ottawa Rough Riders?
That's still a question mark right now.
It still is?
Yes, it is.
What if you win a Grey Cup game? Do you think it might be less of a question mark?
Still, it's a question mark. I don't know yet.
How do you feel about the Calgary Stampeders, Bo?
They're a great ball team, and I think it's going to be a great game.
Okay, thanks very much, Bo Scott. And let's hope that that leg gets all right. Now, Vic Washington. Here's a man who's had a great season in the Eastern Conference and the Canadian Football League. Vic, what's your health condition right now, except for that puffy little lip there?
Well, I have a tally horse in my leg. It's coming along, and I expect to be playing next week.
What about the game today against the Toronto Argonauts? When they came on with that surge in the third quarter, did that scare you a little bit?
Oh, sure. I just wanted to get my hands on the ball to get out of trouble down there when we're down in around about the 25 or 20.
Vic, last week they were talking about the footing in Toronto not being good. Today the footing was much better, and I would imagine you felt much better about it.
Well, I felt much better because I was physically better.
What about running against the Argonauts, though? You were running very, very strong today.
Well, they were hitting hard, and I just who wanted to win the game, and I thought that we wanted to win it, so we tried to run hard as we could.
How do you feel about playing the Calgary Stampeders, Vic?
I'm looking forward to it because Pete Liss is from my hometown, so he told me the last time that he said, we'll see you in the Grey Cup, so I guess it was true. We'll be there.
Are you going to show him the other hometown boy next week?
Well, I'm going to try to.
Okay, Vic Washington, thanks very much. Jack Goda, one of the assistant coaches with Frank Clare's club. Jack, you've been in the Grey Cup before, but you were there with another ball club last year.
That's right. You know, this is my third time in a row, and I'm really fortunate to be with two real good football clubs. The Saskatchewan team that got me there the other two times, and now with Ottawa.
Last year, the Saskatchewan Roughriders were defeated, but what's going to happen next week, Jack?
Well, you never know. I know one thing for sure, that we're playing just an excellent football club. I think Calgary, that's my old former ball club from a long time ago.
Right.
They're just a tremendous football team, and to beat Saskatchewan out in the first place, they have to be a real good football team.
All right, Jack Goda, thank you very, very much. And now let's go back upstairs to Ernie Afghanius.
Bob, I think that Jack Goda is all set to go skiing. He had that ski sweater on. Only one more week to go, Bernie, and then they'll be, you know, have a lot of time.
That's right. One more week to Grey Cup, and then the ski season is really in.
I'm just wondering exactly what will happen in that Grey Cup game. You have a very powerful Calgary club coming out of the West. They can score almost at will. They have an excellent defensive club out there, too, in Calgary. And here in the East, you have a team that is also well-balanced. It could be a 3-0 ball game or a 40-35 ball game.
Well, I would be betting, Ernie, that it would be a lot of scoring in that particular ball game, and I'm sure that the Calgary Stampeders are going to come down with the object to score. We know what this club can do as far as scoring. They've showed us today and over the season, so I think it's going to be a very exciting Grey Cup feature this year.
Tom, did you expect Ottawa to go that well today, handle the Toronto club that well?
As Blackie Johnson, the Argonaut assistant coach, coming down, said they're just too good a football team. They're too hard to contain, and it was the right team that won, really, for Eastern Canada. The Argonauts get all the credit in the world for being a game club. All I can say is that people who have an aversion to the colors red and white, with a little black thrown in, had better stay clear of Toronto next week, starting on Monday.
And while we're talking about the cuddlers of Ottawa, I think they were all set to go down for an interview. Frank Clare is all set with Bob Moyer.
I'd love to, but I don't taste any better. Frank Clare, the coach of the Ottawa Rough Riders, and Frank, from the start of a season where sometimes the people down here don't treat you too kindly, they're very, very much for you at the present time.
Well, I imagine so. We're extremely proud of our football team. We came into a football game that we heard so much publicity coming out of the big city of Toronto that we were beat man to man. Everything they had was better. And I thought we were a better football team, and we showed it today.
Frank, I noticed that you pace awful nervously up and down that bench. Do you get ulcers?
Well, no, I've never had any. Now, I better knock on wood. But all we got to think for is that Calgary bunch now. They got a fine football team, and we'll get ready tomorrow for them.
All right, Frank Clare, thank you very, very much, and good luck to you next week.
Thank you.
Now, once again, let's go back upstairs to Ernie Afghanius.
I think that Frank Clare has looked about as relaxed as I've ever seen him, and of course winning the Eastern Championship and a Grey Cup berth makes you relaxed, doesn't it?
Well, you should be relaxed after a game like today, coming from behind, even though it was only a 2-point comeback, really. They scored a lot of points, and you've got to be relaxed, Ernie.
I think, too, that it was probably a 3-pack of cigarettes game for Frank. He really goes through them. He was really having a ball out there when he knew his club had it all cinched. The final score, again, was Ottawa 47 and Toronto 27 in the total points series. A reminder that next Saturday, CBC Television brings you complete coverage of Grey Cup Day. It begins with the Grey Cup Festival in the morning, then the parade, and the Grey Cup preview, and then, of course, the Grey Cup game itself. So this is Ernie Afaganis on behalf of our sponsors and the CBC Television Network, Don Chevrier, Bernie Filoni, and Bob Moore, bidding you all a very pleasant good day.
This half of Canadian professional football, brought to you by Canadian Pacific. Canadian Pacific, serving you in so many ways.